Hello everyone and welcome to my build video as promised for the Stamina Nightblade for the Morrowind patch. So this build compromises in a way to get sustain that's a little different. I have played the set that you'll see in this build in a sec before in a one-hand shield build. It's not a popular set in the past. I think people are slowly starting to realize it's good. I have marketed a lot again in the past on my one-hand shield build. And it's something that just gives you an opportunity as a Nightblade to really get your return at the right time would be the best way to describe it. I've got to say that the build is very difficult to play. You have to have a lot of knowledge about Stamina Nightblade to actually get this sustain form to work and how to use your skills appropriately. But it does have some customizability, or whatever the word would be there, and you can adapt it a little bit to your liking in terms of skills and a couple of the other sets. So it does leave some stuff open, some stuff not so. So, the stats. This is obviously all unbuffed. We'll go on our two-handed bar here. Our recovery, 2.3k, and our magical recovery, 1.1k. Without CP, it's not much more. I don't have that many points in there. You're probably talking about 2.1k and about 1040. So, not a huge change on those for no CP. Our health in a combat is going to be about 20 at 2.9k. Inside of Battlegrounds, obviously no CP. Again, you're talking about 22-ish, 21-ish. It varies a bit. But yeah, not a huge difference. I think at the lowest you get about 20k, 2500, depending how you glyph it. So again, there's a lot of customization. Call it 20k, it's still plenty of health. Our stamina pool then on our back bar is 33.8, front bar is 32.4, and our weapon damage on the front bar unbuffed 2.9k, fully buffed it is 3.4k plus our bow, which is going to add a bit more, which I will show in a sec. Mundus, we're using the Serpent. I think it's just too good for no CP. Again, Battlegrounds are the builds I'm going to be making for. No CP, you want that Mundus every day. And we are a Vampire in this. Now, this is optional. You could play as a level 2 Vampire if you so wish. Your choice. You could play as a Werewolf and slot that back bar. I'm kind of liking Vamp for this build for the set that I'm using, and I'll explain that in a sec, but that's down to preference. Food is the gold food. You do want to go with this food. This is going to give you max health, stamina recovery, and magical recovery. Everything you need. Yeah, bread and butter for anyone not using Bone Pirate, in my opinion, as a Stam Nightblade. There are people who like to play different, but not my cup of tea. So, our skills. We are running on the back bar. This is our bow bar. Or should I show the sets first? Let's show the sets first. Our sets. 1 Celine. Again, if you prefer to run a proc, you can do so. I've got a bit of self-respect for the game. I know I don't have to do that. There's people always saying, fuck off, don't have self-respect, just do it. It's just my personal thing. I like to be a bit more respectful, play the general stats rather than all this proc nonsense. So I use 1 Bloodspawn and 1 Celine, both Impen. Again, suit the traits as you like. I normally run 4 well-fitted and 3 Impen, but your choice in the end. We're then running on the jewellery, 3 agility, all weapon damage enchanted. There's no need for any other enchant there. Bang it on weapon damage, you're fine there. And that will do the job absolutely lovely. We are then running on our bow, the Master Bow. That gives us a large damage increase, 300 on any target that is poison injected. Very strong bow, brilliant weapon to have. You farm this in Dragonstar Arena if you are interested in actually farming that, but it's definitely worth getting that bad boy. It does help a lot. We run that in defending, of course, is our back bar weapon, so always good to go defending there. Our two-hander then is a sharpened Maelstrom weapon. Greatsword being my preference. You could also run the axe, you could run the mace, down to you, I guess. I would personally run with the Greatsword as a Nightblade, though axe is going to be really close in a lot of fights. If it's like a person who can't burst, axe will actually be better. On the axe, because we run the double damage poison, bit of damage. You could also run the healing poison here. If you're a twat, you could run cost poison. Don't be a twat. Everyone's a better man. So it's an option. And then finally, our 5-piece set, the bread and butter of this build, is the Shadow Walker set. So this is a set that's very hard to use. Some people will consider this OP when I explain the 5-piece. It's really not. It's very difficult to get down. It takes a lot of skill to get sorted. So weapon damage, stamina, stamina recovery. 5-piece. When you are sneaking or invisible and not moving, that's the key bit to remember here. You heal for 2,150 health and restore 2,150 stamina every 1 second. So it is a huge stamina return. If I quickly show you, I'll burn my stamina out real fast and then show you myself in cloak to show how much stamina this actually gives back. You can get a general idea of just how sexy this set is to use. But again, remember you have to stand still, so you've got to get in the middle of a fight stationary. So here we go. We are 0 stamina. 2 cloaks so far. 3 cloaks, and without a potion, we are practically full stamina. So return from a set is very, very good. It's equivalent of 4.3k stamina regen. But again, you have to be stationary. So that's where our skills come into play and how we move around in the build. So, bow bars, shadow image. This is going to be how you get into your cloak. Place an image. Do not fight next to that image. Wherever that image is, bugger off somewhere else in range of that image. So that when you're in trouble, you can teleport to image and cloak. Or more likely, teleport to image, cloak, move away, re-cloak for sustain. Because again, it's going to take more than one cloak. They're going to be able to predict you otherwise. Second poison injection, that is going to be for your master bow. That's going to proc your damage as well as a really nice dot, nice execute range, very good skill. Vigor for our heal, even with a cost increase, it's a great skill to run. It's still a huge heal over time, so got to run that one in my opinion on a Nightblade. Shuffle number 4 for the dodge chance, but more importantly for the snare removal. Like, you can get the dodge chance through blur. If you're fine for snares and you don't really care, you can just run blur. I think you need it because if you want to get in Shadow Walker again, you need your mobility to be good. If it's bad, you're fucked. Then we're running Cloak, so Cloak is going to make us invisible. It's going to guarantee a crit. You do want the crit more for this, especially as a Stam Nightblade, playing with a burst build. If you're a less bursty build, you can get away with it, but I would suggest it's more if it's going to help you with your heals as well. Now, another big thing to mention here is I told you I was a Vamp. So Vamp is going to increase our stealth speed in Cloak. That's going to help you a lot for your general sustain and survivability. It's just going to mean that you're able to get out of there, get stationary, restore up, and all of that. Our front bar then, a couple of changes here. We're running Surprise Attack, that's our burst DPS, pretty obvious there. Rally is our burst heal, Major Brutality, general bread and butter skill for Stam Nightblade. Expensive, but use it carefully. I'm then using Relentless Focus instead of a gap close. So I've kind of gone in favor of this. The gap closes in this game are very expensive. I'm normally able to stay on top of my opponent, and thus I've done okay just running without a gap closer. If you do want a gap close, this would be the skill I drop. You could also drop your execute if you are so up for that, but against tankier players, it's pretty handy. Fear, generic skill here. It's just going to give you a CC, mass hysteria, few people, and it's put a minor maim on them. Great shit. And a snare. It just does everything you need. It is expensive on your Magicka, so make sure you don't over spam this. Only use it when you're going for a kill, or if you're against a target, you can burn the stamina out. Otherwise, be careful, but yeah, it does the job fine. Our final skill then is Killer's Blade. So I've changed this instead of Executioner. I think you'll see most Stamina Nightblades do this patch if they are knowledgeable. Executioner is great, it is, and it's got a bigger execute range, but this one's giving you a burst heal, which isn't terrible. 20% of your health unleveled. I think it levels up to about 25%. It gives you more burst damage under 25. Under 25 is a guaranteed kill. Even on block, it's pretty likely you're going to kill them. It doesn't have the execute range, but here's the reason I use it. 1.4k stamina if I go to my 2-hander here and go on to Reverse Slice. 1.9k stamina. So every execute, and if you're spamming executes, you're saving 500 resources per execute. No CP, you gotta learn your skills. Same as my DK, we're cheapening our skill bar down, and that will help us a lot. Ultimate bread and butter in cap is your kill ulti, and back bar we're going to use Flawless Dawnbreaker here. It's not an ultimate I really ever cast unless I'm hugely in an AoE situation. This is only here to increase my weapon damage on the back bar for the duration where I'm not weapon swapped. So normally I'll cast a Vigor, Cloak, and during that bit of time I'm getting a bit more healing by having Dawnbreaker on the back. There's no other ulti I like there. You could use the bow ulti if you like it, but frankly I think in cap's always the better ult. So yeah, I just use Flawless to increase my weapon damage. You could also use Barrier as a back bar ulti. It's going to give you about 100 more Magicka regen through this passive here. It's up to you, but I like a support ulti there. If you are playing a werewolf, this is where you stick the werewolf ulti instead. I think we got that. So we're using Tripods, obviously, as our potion. If you are playing Battlegrounds, I would suggest also having this one here, a movability. That's going to give us speed, and movability, and stamina. That's very nice for flag running, especially on a Nightblade where you've got to get it in quick. Finally, champion points. So, green tree, again, spread out the points. Everything in here is pretty much min-max. You want to make sure you are getting your champion points to a point where they don't round down. So, every time your champion points are over a percentage, let's imagine 9.99%. That is not 10%, it is 9%. You still only get 9%. Nothing else matters. So, it's important that you get just over the rounding point, and I've done that with every tree here. So, Siphoner, 7 points, same as the DK, 2.06. Scale shit is fairly shit, but it's worth a few points. Warlord, 28 in there for break free. I haven't needed more there. You could put more. It scales very good in that tree. You could go up higher if you so wish. Bashing for interrupts. Sometimes I'll weave it in an offense burst. We go for 6, 4.11. We're getting a good rounding there. 6 in Sprinter. So I don't obviously have this on the DK. On the Nightblade, it's nice. Sometimes moving around, you'll like to sprint a little bit. It does help you sustain slightly on that sprint. And thus, I think it's worthwhile. 43 on Mooncraft, and that is going to be for recovery. 27 and 27 Tenacity and Arcanist. Again, both scaling good. 7.07. Healthy, not worth it. 10 in Befoul for the extra heal debuff. So this one scales pretty shit, as you can see, 10.5. But you get nearly an exact percentage every single point. We're using that for the in-cap, so it is worth putting a few in there for the extra in-cap defoul. It's obviously a pretty strong heal debuff, and we're getting a big, big gain per point there. 1% a point is huge. 56 in Tumbling, much, much cheaper dodge there. 20%, very nice. So we're going good there. In the blue tree, 7 in Bless. So even though Nightblade heals kind of suck, this tree is just not worth the points. It scales really badly now. I like to put in just 7 in there, and does the job fine. We then move to the middle. Big mix in there. 19 Physical Experts. This is going to increase our damage with our weapons. Bow, the dual, the two-hand, all of that stuff. That really matters. Again, in no CP, you're going to see a lot more damage from your light and heavy attacks. It makes a huge, huge difference. I really do like to put some points in there. You really, really will notice them. So definitely consider putting some in there. If it's not for you, don't. But I promise you'll feel it on your burst. 40 in Shattering Blows. Scales excellently this tree. Very good against your bigger counter, which is magic shield stacking targets. A bitch as a Nightblade. So they're really, really going to help your damage against shield stackers. And then 52 in Master Arms. Scales great, is great. Super strong tree. You want to whack some points in there. Good damage on that one. 56 would also scale even better, but it's hard to get the points out of anywhere else. 13 in Thaumaturge. I use those points just for the damage over time from my poison injection, and you could also get some damage over time if you run an axe. It's not too many points to invest for an okay gain, so I do like that. 13 Precise Strikes for the crit. Again, not scaling great, but it's worth a few. 10 in Piercing for the penetration, and 56 in Mighty. Never put more than 56 in a tree. It really scales shit after that. So, yeah, that's the blue. Finally, the reds. 52 Ironclad. Mostly, again, we're countering out our blue and our green. So we're doing exactly the same backwards. 52 in Ironclad is going to give us the counter to our Master at Arms. So anyone using Master at Arms, we counter the damage from there. 14 Spell Shield and Medium Armor. Those are going to increase our spell resist and physical resist through our armors. 2 in Resistance for crit resist. It doesn't scale very good, but I mean, I had 2 points spare and it doesn't scale terribly. So I don't know. It's not the best tree, but you got 2 points spare when you play it this way and you don't really have anywhere else to put them. So yeah, I think they're worth it in there. 28 Thick Skin for the dots. Not too bad at all. Very good scaling a point there. And 37 in Hardy Elemental Defender. Again, to counter out other trees. And last but not least, 19, countering out the light attacks and heavy attacks. And 7 in Quick Recovery for the heals. So, I think I have covered everything. I think so. Last but not least is to explain the damage rotation. That's the important bit. So, damage rotation. You are going to want to put your injection on, then your shadow image. If you put an injection and weapon swap it, you are going to get screwed out for the injection. So if you weapon swap cancel this, you will not get the buff on your injection. Pop your injection on, make sure your buffs like shuffle are up, then put an image, or then put your shuffle. So one more skill after that. Swap bar, you should already be moving in as you're casting his skill. So let's imagine he's my target. I would inject him, move in as I'm going, and then I'm already on him. That's your gap closer, just your movement. We're going to heavy attack into an ulti. Light attack, surprise attack, light attack, surprise attack, light attack, surprise attack, light attack, relentless on the 5th cast, and that's going to be your recast. And if you haven't got them at any point, you can obviously execute. So, pretty easy rotation in general. Pretty much just inject and surprise attacks. And yeah, that's it. So, I think I've covered everything here. I can't think of anything I haven't made a difference on. So, good luck with the build. It shouldn't be too bad to farm. There's a lot of people looking for Shadow Walker weapons. The armor should be fine to farm. Very nice setup. Good luck to you. Again, if you want to run a proc, you can. You can run any procs you like. I'm just a bit more self-respecting than that. Your choice. And yeah, best of luck with the build. And I will see you out there. Good. Build video complete.